Now I want to talk about wish lists and manifests and all that kind of stuff. Now, how do you do it if it was true? Now, pretend something is true, like people pretend there's a God and all that without 100% evidence and facts. And, yep, there's God. Look, we can make him appear. Right? There's God. We've got that from 100% facts and evidence. Right? We can call it. We can do all this kind of stuff. How do you... Oh, hang on. I'm having a memory blank. What was I saying?
Wish list?
Oh, the wish list. That's it. So I've got sidetracked on God and Tess right here trying to come past me. Tess at the moment is in the land of delusional. Like I nearly got then having a memory blank because she's coming over and like, huh? And then I just had that blank. Yeah. So anyway, back to wish list. If you had to do it, if it was real and you're going to do it, how do you do your wish, right? Do you end up doing one where, like, say, they say write it down and burn it on a full moon and all these things? I've tried everything once, right? If something was going to be real, I try it out. Right? It's like making a wish. When they say, make a wish when you see the star, shooting star, make a wish when you blow the wish thingy. Oh, okay. We've all done it. I've done it. I even put my heart and soul in it. I'm going to believe this. But then nothing happens, eh, Emma? Yeah, you go. Oh. But anyway, so if I ever go to do something for the first time, which I talked about a while back and did a little bit of video on it, when I first started listening to tarot readers and the Ascension people and stuff like that, they talk about energy and candles and lining up of planets and all these kind of things and the right timing. There was a timing, right, that they were going on about. I'm like, oh, fucking it only happens every now. Oh, all right, this is the time to do something. That's what I said, hey, man, I get you to do a little bit. I thought, hey, you want to get in on it? And she did a little bit. Remember? We made our manifest list, and on this night and day, we had to burn the list that you wanted to manifest, right? As they talk about a lot on the moons and stuff like that. So I went, oh, let's give it a go. And so I wrote down this list. It took me hours. I was writing and scribbling out and made sure it was right? And made a list up for what I wanted. And I made sure, because I was scribbling out some of them, because I wanted to make sure there was, I said to them, I said, look, there's good and bad. We know all this energy. And if it's a gift from bad, it'll trick you like the devil does in Bedazzle. So you got to make sure you say it right? You know what I was saying, eh? But I want to make sure if it does work, I'm going to make a benefit out of it. And I spend hours on thoughts and things all the time. Right? And so that was that moment that night of what was going on. I just made it in time too, before the 12 o'clock moment. I was really stretching it to the end of what I could put on the list, so I waited to the end. And I did the list, and then I made the little manifest list that you can hang up, a little main part of what you want. And that's what I did to continue on what you mainly want, as they talk about. You keep trying with that. So I put that up permanently, that little list about what I wanted to achieve. But on the list, I was writing, I would like to have people's thoughts. I want connection. I'm thinking connection. But I only want their thoughts if they allow me to have them, right? Or they want to send them. They want to connect. Otherwise, God wants me to connect with them, right? That's how I made sure I worded it right, and then I wrote it down. Right? That's what I was doing. Isn't it pretty much like that, wasn't I? Yeah, I even told Emma, I go, I've got to make sure I don't just want to read minds. Otherwise, you'll end up getting that, everyone's in your head and all sorts of things, and you'll probably hear things you shouldn't want to know, right? Because there's things you shouldn't just know about people. You'll change your perception when you don't need to. Right? Like, they pick their nose more often in the background or something, but they're still a good worker and a good person. But you don't need to know that, do you, Emma? Really? Right? So, because otherwise you go, shit, they pick their nose. But you don't really need to know. It's a small thing. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't really hurt them. Things you don't need to know. That's why spying is a sin. If you're spying all the time or spying just for yourselves and not for everybody and stuff like that, they're a sin. It's a selfish sin. And it can backfire on you as well. And so what I did is I made this list up. And then me and Emma went out and we burnt it and did what they did and then rubbed it into the ground, I think it was, that they said to do. And I've got the videos of these things. And I'm talking about it all the time. And they've talked about before. This is nothing I've not heard before. It's about the timing. That I thought, hey, I'll give it a go and see what happens, because if nothing happens, then what's the point? But when I made this list, I was already into the knowledge I was talking about, everything else, and me dancing. But me dancing got a little better over time. Perhaps it could have helped the list. Perhaps it's not. It's one of those things where you go, God, if this tornado gets past, I'll believe it was you. right? And then it goes past, but it would have went past anyway. Next door didn't say it, and then they're saved, right? And so it's not really God, right? If it was God, they would probably take you out next door and really give you a point, right? That's how I see it. And so if it was the devil, you got to make sure you word it right, otherwise the devil's going to fuck you over. And then if it does go to fuck you over, you need to do something like in Bedazzle. How are you going to fucking fix this contract? Right? Break this contract. Right? It tricked me. And that's what I was saying, Emma. I don't want to be tricked by the devil. Right? And so I worded and I made sure that whatever I was getting, because the devil would hate it, that it's going to be for the people. Right? So I guess you can call that, in a way, if it goes wrong with the devil, that I suffer. It sucks. So hopefully there's no devil out there, no bad witch, no trickster, because no one should suffer who's there to help. No one should get a gift that doesn't believe they should have it. And yet we have the devils and the people out there with the ability and gifts and know-how, but don't do or do the opposite. So if you went in such an area, what would you do? Are you a person that goes, and in a way, you can get away with it, but you can't get nothing for free. So it comes from the devil. You're going to suffer or pay for it in some way, and usually it'll be 3 times or more of a cost. It's like going for a loan at Radio Rentals to get something, and you get a game machine, and you're actually paying $2,000 for it, 2.5. I've seen them. For an Xbox when it first came out for $500-600, you paid 4 or 5 times the amount in some cases. And I even asked them why you're getting. They want 4 times the profit on a game machine than they do on a couch. And things that are not so popular, they make it cheaper as well, so you can get it. It's all about business. And things that are popular, even though it was cheap, people would pay for it. Gamers would go, oh, but I want to play a game. Right? And they did. Yeah, it's like shaking their head. And so they would pay. You could probably even make it more if you wanted to be an arsehole, but they push it to the sort of the limit, but not too far kind of thing. And yeah, it was $2,500. That's what, when I went through Radio Rentals, I made sure I looked at what the products were worth and how much they wanted to, and then I worked out my own calculation and how much they end up getting. And they all had their different prices when I did that research. Don't know if it's the same now, but they did. And I made sure that they wouldn't at least get more than double. I noticed double was roughly their minimum on things that you could get that wasn't so cool. If you got things that were important, it wasn't too bad, or things you didn't need, right? Or something new, like a couch when they started couches and stuff like that. They weren't as bad. But you'd have to check them out yourself, as contracts are full of loopholes and are tricksters, and they're not the same as every item for everybody when it comes to contracts. But anyway, have a good one out there, and hopefully we don't use... See, I don't believe in magic and all that, and in a way magic's around. Magic is energy. Energy. When we first got Bluetooth and designs and Wi-Fi, people first would have went, oh shit, that's like magic, you know? It shouldn't be, but it's science. We figured that out in those areas. But it's just a level up, and what are you going to do with it, right? It's not really magic. There's a lot out there that we don't understand, and whatever happens, we just got to go along with, and hopefully it works out. So when it comes to people in connection, that could work out bad for you, is you've got to do a lot, like Jesus did for someone, but at least as long as you love doing things, you love doing it. But then if you become a person like that, and then you have witches around, and that same energy, this is the worst thing about that story, which could happen to Jesus too, is they come in, which is what I've talked about with tarot. If you want to know where do you look, that's what I was asking. That's why I maybe been in certain areas, but not hopefully there to be bullied and attacked. But maybe that's what you need to fix something in some cases. And so I believe there's somewhere that needs to be seriously fixed, as that's the case I've been getting when it comes to where I interacted in. And so hopefully it doesn't all become evil for us out there in the world of gifts, because they come all the time, and doesn't mean you get it, doesn't mean you should use it either. It's a test. It's like when someone gives someone a knife, they go, what are you going to do with it, right? And watch it for a while. And someone who hasn't had education, they might try to cut themselves with it. They might go stab someone or stab something to see if it kills. They'll experiment before they've been told. And that's how we first started working out with knives and things like that. But if you get told, get a bit of lessons, then give them a knife, you'll find that they'll do a whole lot less of what you've told them, usually. And if they did, they would feel guilty and remorse and have learnt quicker too than to keep going and learn themselves, as they'll learn that you were right on the outcomes of their getting of education, because that's what makes us believe that the more it's happening, more coincidences, more right, of something that's going to happen, the more likely we can believe that area. Doesn't mean it. There is a lot of coincidences, there's patterns all the time that makes people go crazy. They've always been there, but no one seems to crack them or really understand what they're there. But we've got theories. That's where we are in life. We've got a lot of theories, but we're not quite there. We're those people that know about the car, but we're not the mechanic. And that could be a while. But we got a lot of people that know a lot about cars, but they like to say they're the mechanic. That's sad. But anyway, have a good one, and see you later. Now, what would you wish for before I go? If you ever did such a thing, and how would you approach it? Do you think how I approached things and thought about things was a good thing, or did it come a bad thing? Right? When I first did it, it was a good thing at first, but then when people come in and get jealous and envy and get involved in themselves when it comes to that energy, if it was true, that means they can tap in and also do just as much harm as you're trying to do good. And that's what you need to work out, where things are coming from, if things are happening in life. So if someone was cursed, you would see they're doing all good deeds, but it's getting the opposite. If someone's getting bullied that they shouldn't, you'll see that they should be, that all the people that are bullying or other people around them that know them or could sort it out may get bullied in a backfire, which is what I've been talking about similarities and why people think might be happening. If someone maybe shouldn't be getting bullied has a thought of, well, shit, maybe I could do this, but I can't because I know they're going to do this and this and this, and we can't do that. And then God allows other things to happen and show the point in another way, then so be it. You know what I mean? But God works in mysterious ways, I think, and he works just like that too, where other people suffer. See, when the thief got strung up with Jesus, not only the thief suffered in that story, but he didn't suffer for a while. And in some thief stories, they don't even suffer, they live a long life. But because of them getting that, a lot of people paid for that consequences. Like I said, everything has to pay somewhere. And that's part of the test of realising, where do things come from? Why am I suffering? I don't deserve it. And look at what could be causing it, right? And that's how you find things. Without that study and doing things right, you would never know. And you never rush in. So with that type of study, I'd get the good person. You ever found out something like that, you get them. And then whatever's happened opposite, you find out who would want to attack, and it'd be a pain in the ass thing. Then when it comes to energies like that, as it can be done from a distance, you see, as these people talk about. But anyway, all you can do is go back as far as you can with the knowledge you know and what you got. Have a good one and see you later. Like to know what you got to say in comments, but I know it won't happen. Not at the moment. But these are still saved for later.